Have any of you been thinking about the servant title while you've been sitting there, cleaning out the closet? And have you even thought about Ephesians and how cleaning out the closet can ever refer to that chapter in Ephesians? Well, it can. My brother and I, when we were young, slept together in one of the two upstairs bedrooms. Between our beds was a table, and on the table was a radio, and at night, especially on Sunday nights, we would turn it on and listen to the various things that were on. And among the situation comedies on radio, and oh, those are so much better than the ones on television, Fibber McGee and Molly. Anybody ever listen to Fibber McGee and Molly?
Of course.
Oh, yes. It was always interesting because McGee would go looking in his closet. And when he opened the door, everything came out. You could hear it all over the floor. Anybody got a closet like that? Got a drawer like that? A workbench? Some other place in the house where you store everything you might just need. 30 years later, when somebody's sorting through it, now what on earth did he ever keep this for? Why, there's a wood screw that's half broken. What was that kept for? I got my share of McGee closets, and I've had them through my life in varying places and times. Usually a drawer or a wall behind the workbench, or the workbench itself, or some other place where you could put things. I have one now, sits beside my chair where my computer is. It's useful. It has paper in it that I might need sometime. It's got the top drawer with its tray of pens and pencils in case one runs out. I've got a whole cubicle full of pens and pencils, 2 pencils, a mechanical pencil as well, a variety of pens, and every once in a while I check and throw out the ones that have quit working. I go through the drawer once in a while and throw out those that I got because I had to buy 2 in a package. The second one never gets used because it dries up before I get to it. Of all those things. The list of descriptions goes on like this. It includes but is not limited to. That's the legal jargon in contracts. You'll see that written down all over the place. Rubber bands that have lost much of their elasticity. Pencil stubs an inch or less long with an eraser, kept primarily for the eraser which has long since gone too hard to be useful. All things, a piece or 2 of wood, small, thin, used for shoring up things, for propping for wedges. Now, those I have used. You get something that's not quite level, you get a little piece of wood, you stick on it, and it makes it level. The closet where I keep my clothes holds all the things that I own in the way of clothing. Some of them are the things that I wear now, others are things I might wear again. If I lose a little weight, or if I should gain a little weight. I've thrown out so many. I don't throw my clothes out. I take them to a used clothing store or down to some place where they'll be useful. Oh, we have all kinds of things that we store. There is also a rack with ties. And I'm going to tell you about one of those ties, which I have worn in this congregation. And it has been commented to me that people like it. It's in its 27th year of residency with me. It is a little narrower than normal. Ties have been a little wider, and they got real wide, they got a little narrower. But I keep that because it reminds me of a pleasant time. I got it at Lanark Mills in Lanark. The place no longer exists. But I got it there, it was nice. It's paisley, it's pastel in color, and it goes with a lot of the things I wear. So how does all of this relate to Ephesians chapter 4? I say that that chapter calls us to clean our closets. The closet of life. It calls us to go through our mind and examine everything that is there. Is it necessary to my life? Is it necessary for the way I express myself? Or is it extra that I don't need? Are my thoughts focused on what they need to be focused on? Or are they caught up in the clutter? It calls us to go through our mind and clear away the impure thoughts that are there. The tongue is to be held in check and taught not to say profane things, slander, or any other evil thought. Again, the list is inclusive of everything that is counter to what God expects of us who profess to be Christian. In the early days of the church, new converts would be taught about their new faith for a while, 2 years. They had classes about the Christian faith and way of life for 2 years. And then they were baptized. The baptismal service in those days was far different than it is today. They would go to a river if they could, or if they couldn't get a river, a pond or lake. The person to be baptized would take off all his old clothing and enter the water naked. After he had been baptized, and that meant you were totally immersed in the water and brought back up, he would come out of the water and be handed a white robe. The white robe signified a new way of life, a new set of clothing, pure. This is why Ephesians can remind the reader about their conversion in this sort of language. You were taught to strip off your former way of life, your old self, and to clothe yourself with a new self, created according to the likeness of God. Once upon a time, Christians had done this literally. Now, our baptisms don't do it that way, but I think we can still see the point. Becoming a Christian means putting off the old way of life and putting on a new way of life. We can think about what it means by thinking about changing your clothes. How many times as we have, as kids, been told by our mothers or fathers or both to go and change for going out? We want to see Aunt Martha and you need to have your good clothing on. Or you're going out for the evening and you dress up a little. I want to carry the metaphor a little further and think about cleaning out the closet. Periodically, that's something that we all have to do. All of us have to, at some time or another, go through our closets and clean them because there's just too much stuff that we don't wear anymore. We bought all this new stuff and there's no place to put it. We haven't got any room for another wardrobe because the room is already filled with extra wardrobes. So we start cleaning. All the world outside of Christ runs on one great lie, and it goes something like this. Life is supposed to be fun and entertaining for me. Anything that makes it easier or more fun is good. Anything that makes it harder or more boring is less fun, and it's bad. And that lie is so much a part of this world that every commercial, every average person sees in their lifetime is literally billions of commercials. Every commercial is a 30-second reinforcement of the great lie. Life is supposed to be fun and easy for me. That's like the old overcoat that we keep trying to go through and throw out of the closet. Every time we look, there it is again. Think about commercials for 30 seconds. They're supposed to make you happy. They're supposed to engage you in some activity that is going to take away your cares. It is something that you can drink and feel better and relax and have a good time with. It is something that you have to have because everybody else has, but yours is going to be better. You need to invest this way because it's going to give you a bigger return in the long run. Don't worry about the high cost of investing now because it's a long-term plan. But as the man sitting behind the other side of the desk says, yes, but this represents my whole life. He's arguing with the guy about is the high cost of the fees charged by these mutual funds. How come I get so little interest, yet you get rich on the fees? Well, it's a long-term game. It's not a game for me, man says. It's my life. It's our life. A man in my first charge told me how he and his wife decided that they would clean out the attic. People who have an attic that you can get into and store things, store stuff. They will put the Christmas decorations that they use once a year up in there. They will put old lamps that they got when they first got married and they don't have room for them right now, so they put them there in case they need them someday. They put other things up there, all kinds of memories and keepsakes. So they were going to clean this attic. Well, he got up, he backed the truck up below the attic window, and he said to his wife, I'll go up, because they already started sorting stuff, they had it arranged. I'll go up and put the stuff out the window, and you can pick it up and put it in the truck. Okay, she says. So he's up there throwing stuff out, box after box of stuff going out. Pretty soon he hears her coming up the stairs with boxes full of stuff that he'd thrown out. That's called instant recycling. He gave up after a while, didn't bother to clean the attic. His wife didn't want to throw anything out. So let's look at the clothing that we're taking off. Pesky t-shirts. I used to wear t-shirts all the time. I rarely wear a t-shirt anymore. I don't know why, I just don't. But think about a t-shirt. Anger, which we might think of as a t-shirt, needs constant attention. It's normal, sometimes even okay to get angry. You and I read reports about a fire in a plant or a live entertainment center or a school or somewhere like that, where there are a lot of people gathered, and we read that the exits have been nailed shut, locked shut, barred so you can't get out, and people have died. We get angry, and that's righteous anger. The needless, senseless, irresponsible behavior brings on genuine anger, which is right and proper. Anger against actions such as these lead to positive response, which makes things better. But most of the time, anger leads to needless waste of time and energy We don't feel any better, we feel worse, and everybody else around us has tuned us out. Most of the time my anger is limited to people who drive slowly ahead of me when I want to go faster, who don't get away from a stoplight fast enough. Things like that. Or stupid plays in the field at baseball games. It flashes, it goes away, I get over it. But suppose I didn't. I've got the anger t-shirt on now. Something else happens, well, I put another t-shirt over top of it. That's a separate thing. And then a third, and then a fourth, and a fifth. Pretty soon I can hardly move for all these t-shirts. If I don't get them off by the end of the day, I'm going to be very uncomfortable by tomorrow. I need to strip them away before I go to bed. Don't let your anger go to sleep with you. Reconcile before you go to sleep. Tomorrow will be a lot better. What else have we got in here that we're going to look at? Pants, work pants. Asked my wife sometime about my work pants when I was in plumbing. You could wash those for a week and they would never be any different than they were when they went in. Because everything went on. Just the way it was. They became for me the rag in the back to wipe your hands on. Quicker, faster, didn't get in the way. Thieves must give up stealing. Pants are like thieves. Again, I'll bet you gave up stealing a long time ago. We all learn to respect personal property, and that comes at a very young age. But again, Ephesians means more because the opposite of stealing is working so that you will have something to share with the needy. We forget what is the opposite of stealing. It is to work for something that you will be able to share with others. I think the word for this broader kind of stealing is materialism. None of us are infected with materialism. We only drive a good quality car. We live in a good quality home. We have good quality furniture. We try to keep up with the neighbors. The world wants to give us a pair of work pants that are built in big pockets. One of the complaints that a lot of people have is the pockets in the pants aren't big enough. On the tag on the back of these pants, it reads, "Work hard so that after you pay the bills, you can buy yourself something nice." That's the most natural thing in the world. But the Christian work pants have a different motto stitched on the back. Work hard so that after you pay the bills, you can help somebody else. God expects us to help the less fortunate. But it takes constant reminding ourselves so that we don't put on the wrong pants out of the closet over and over. Work boots. Boots of any kind. You put your boots on when you go out in the wet weather. You put work boots on when you go to work on a construction site. They're there to protect your feet. Boots can be dangerous. If you go on a construction site, especially one where there is a lot of jagged steel or upturned nails and other bits of construction material that can cut you pretty good, you went on there with a pair of running shoes for your work boots, you'd be thrown off. Get out until you come back with good steel-toed, steel-insoled work boots. The last thing mentioned in the passage in Ephesians that we need to examine and put off is evil talk. Hurtful words poisoned words that can tear a person down. I'll bet that none of us are deliberately cruel in our speech. I'd be willing to wager that there is not a person in this room who would deliberately try to cut someone with words. But we can do it without meaning to. We've got to watch the way we talk, the way we act, to make certain that we don't bruise people without meaning to do it. A young boy signed up for a baseball team in school. He was the last one chosen because he was judged by all the rest that he wasn't really good enough to play ball. But they had to pick him because he was there and it was required. And so he was picked for a team. And so came recess and he went out to play with his team on the field. He was a little later than the others. He got held up somewhere or another and he ran toward the group. And a resounding cry from everyone there, "Don't need you." They had enough players, they didn't need it. Simple, but it cut that boy to the quick. It made him feel useless, unwanted. It affirmed in his mind something that he had come to know from the reactions of people around him in that school. Without saying a word. Words can be very dangerous. Ephesians says that we should let our words give grace, act kindly toward one another, be tender-hearted. We need to throw out any words or tones or actions that could hurt another person without meaning to hurt. And as Christians, try to talk and act to build others up. Now, that's a lifetime job. There are people who think when I profess my faith and I'm baptized and join the church, I don't have to do any more. I've made it. No, you've just entered the door. You've just got your marching orders. Now you've got life to live, to work, to make perfect that which you have accepted. Cleaning out our spiritual closet goes on all our life. Every time I turn around, I see something else that I need to attend to. I find myself with some unwanted, inappropriate stuff that has to be discarded. I have to confess it to God and get rid of it. Put on the right stuff again. Make sure it's clean. And go on with my life. Cleaning the closet of life is a lifetime job. We all have to work at being good. Being evil is easy. Being good is hard. God wants us to be good.